then it's really not sure what it is. But when they're large and solid, it's got a pretty good idea what it is. Okay, now to recap, I've got a quarter reading on the screen. I've got a smooth, solid target response. So that's something that I want to dig up. So what I'm going to do now is pinpoint the object. So I move off to the side. Don't stop directly over the target. Move off to the side. Squeeze my pinpoint trigger, which is located underneath the meter pod. Squeeze it, hold it, and come back to the target real slow. What I'm looking for is the loudest, highest pitch and the shallowest depth reading on the screen. And I do that in an X so that I get the true center. So watch how I do this. Right there's the center, 4 inches. All right, now I want to talk a little about how to actually search with the MXT. Again, we got our detector set in the coin and jewelry mode. We've got our gain set on the preset. The preset's the little triangle. We've got our discriminator set on the preset, which is at about 5. Our threshold set to where the detector just barely hums, and we're in the ground track position. Now, while you're searching, you have to be moving. This is a motion detector. That means you've got to be moving in order to get a signal. So that means you've got to stay in motion while you're searching, like this right here. Now notice while you're hunting, you're going to hear little chirps and clicks and not quite full beeps. Those are all things that the discriminator is rejecting. When you hit something good, it's going to be loud, smooth, and solid. So that's what you're looking for when you're hunting. Now, you may get a smooth, solid, faint signal. That might be an older coin down deeper. The farther you get the loop away from the coin, or in other words, the deeper the coin is, the fainter or smoother that's going to be. It's called modulation. And when you get a really faint, smooth, consistent sound, that's one to get excited about because it could be an old coin. So we're moving along. I'm overlapping my swings. I go about this speed right here. Just kind of moving forward, ignoring all those chirps because that's trash. Whoa, hear that sound? That's the overload sound. That means that there's something large down there, a large piece of metal. More than likely, we know it's not going to be a coin, so I'm going to ignore that. It also come across the screen there and told me that it was an overload. It says overload, reduce gain, or lift loop. Well, there is some situations where you can get that tone on the ground itself if you've got in a highly mineralized area and you've got your gain set too high. So you can back your gain off and get rid of that. But in this particular case, that's a big piece of metal in the ground, and I'm not going to dig it up. So we're going to work on here. A lot of chirps and clicks. This is the junky area. There used to be houses here. That's a good sound. Saying 25 cents. I think that might have been that quarter I buried a minute ago. I'm going to pinpoint it. Right there. All right, now I'm going to show you how to dig that up. So we're going to lay our detector down. I carry a little towel with me like this right here. And I'm going to pinpoint it one more time. All right, I got that spot marked. I dig me out a little half moon plug. Fold that back like that right there. And I usually don't wear any jewelry while I'm hunting, but I got some on right now. And I lay that out. The dirt there and that towel. Then I can pick my detector up and see if I've got it. Still there. Oh, I see it. There's that quarter I buried. So now once I retrieve the target, put that quarter in my pouch, and I'll dump that dirt right back into the hole, fold the flap back, stand up, and I'll tap that down with my foot, and you can't hardly tell where I dug that hole. So that's the proper way to dig. You always fill your holes while you're digging. If you find some trash, just don't throw it down, put it in your pouch and carry it away. Okay, I'd like to give you a few tips now for coin hunting that you might not find in your instruction manual. Whenever I find what I think might be a good target, what I like to do is step 90 degrees to that target and check it from a different direction. If I get the same target response, which is that solid, smooth sound, checking it in both directions, then more than likely that's going to be a good object. Now, another thing you can do is what I call sizing the target. When you go to pinpoint this target, you can actually check the size of the target by how wide the audio response is when you've got the trigger held. So I'm going to squeeze my pinpoint trigger and I'm going to go back over this object and see how wide it is. You can see that that's a pretty narrow signal. I'll check it from the other direction. Same size, so it's exactly the same size going both directions, and it's pretty narrow signal. So that's telling me that that's a coin-sized object. If I got a big wide signal or something irregularly shaped, then I would know that that's probably not going to be a coin. Another thing you can do is when you're in the search mode and you found a good target, you keep working back and forth trying to find the best response to it, and then when you squeeze the trigger and you come back to it, if it pinpoints in a ways away from where you got that really good sound, then that means that you're on the edge of a piece of junk. And sometimes when you get on the outer edge of a piece of junk, it can start to sound good. So if it doesn't pinpoint true to where you're getting the good signal, then it's more than likely going to be a piece of iron or something. So those are 3 ways right there that you can help eliminate digging a lot of trash.
The MXT truly offers flexibility for the different types of metal detecting. Interchangeability between the DFX and the MXT search coils further allows the MXT to perform in these very different environments. The Eclipse 3x6 for extreme trash separation and nugget shooting for small nuggets. The Eclipse 6x9 Double D for prospecting and superior performance in extreme mineralization. It provides a long and narrow detection window for great ground coverage. The Eclipse 5.3 for heavy trash separation, and the standard equipment 9.5 for all-around depth and performance.
Hi, I'm Keith Zorger with White's of Mid-Atlantic.
I'm Bob Buttafuso, Centerville Electronics, White Service Center for the Southeastern United States.
Bob and I are here today to explain the benefits of the new White's metal detector, the MXT. We're here in his shop where you can see some of the relics and other metal detectors in the White's line. But we're going to discuss this multiple purpose tracking machine, which is really what MXT stands for. We know that it's going to be a great favorite with relic hunters. The purpose of this segment is to introduce some of the benefits of the MXT. And we're going to start with its ability to track the ground very quickly. Bob, can you explain why you would want to track the ground?
A ground balance is nothing more than the ability of the machine to track the soil conditions or mineralization in the ground. This machine has been set up for fast tracking, meaning it is preset to the tracking conditions. On the machine there's a 3-position switch. The normal position is in the ground position, pulled down. That's the normal relic hunting mode. The lock position is normally used if you're hunting in a highly mineralized area, and the salt position is used if you're going to do some relic hunting where the conditions are salt in the ground.
And another thing about fast tracking, Bob, is that it gives the machine the ability to separate targets better. There's very quick target separation in the MXT. One of the other benefits of this machine is the new operating frequency. White's is running this machine at 13.86 kilohertz. This is quite a bit higher than the normal 6.59 kilohertz that we're used to in White's metal detectors. This is going to give us an ability to enhance the sensitivity of the unit to small brass targets. Additionally, it's going to help us with the harmonics encountered when you're near 60 cycle interference. We have some fields where there's some huge electrical towers going through,